Okay, so welcome to the first of the Mechanicum rundowns on the Bearfoot Miniatures channel. As you know, because you clicked on the video. I'm joined by...
Phil.
Phil, who got the cue today. Hi, Phil.
Hi.
So, Phil and me are here to talk about the first part of the Mechanicum. We're going to split it up because it's quite a large...
Even for a small book, there's an awful lot going on in it, isn't there?
Yeah, and it's quite dense in what rules are in there and how they interact. So we thought we'll split it up into HQs, and then we've really not thought beyond that. It's just...
No, that's it for now. It's just HQs and then other stuff.
And like Techno-Arcana and stuff connected to the HQs.
Yeah.
Maybe give a passing mention to Myrmidons are pretty good in the Myrmidax cult. I've done it there.
Yeah,
there we go.
It's
You don't need to ahead of the curve already. So let's get into that. So for Mechanicum in general, you're going to have lower initiatives than everyone else. You're going to have big tubs of wounds.
Yep.
And across the there's a number of combat units in there, Phil, that I don't think they're up to par. Your shooting is where it's at.
Yeah.
Your combat units, even the dedicated combat specialists of the Mechanicum book, I don't feel are up to par.
No, so they usually have like weapon skill 4 or weapon skill 3 throughout.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the baseline. And what you usually see there is that these Marines units that can get access to weapon skill 5 quite easily.
Yeah.
And there's also sort of like units that -1 to weapon skill. So most of the dedicated Mechanicum combat units end up hitting on 5s. So they've got this they can do this huge amounts of damage, but they actually can't hit. And it's really hard to there's no way to up that. There's no sort of reaction, there's no Cyber-theurgy that ups that weapon skill. So when you're looking at like Vorax, their weapon skill 4, which, is a standard profile. So if they go up against anything elite, they're going to really struggle hitting on 5s. When you're looking at Ursarax, their weapon skill 4. So
Artilax 4. Skillax 3.
When you're looking at Domitars, they're 4 as well.
Yeah.
So they've got this really heavy hitting punching ability to cut through units, but they just can't hit anything. So really shooting is where you need to lean into.
Yeah.
It's nice to have it, but don't rely on it.
Yeah. Now I do think that's because the low model count that you're going to have as Mechanicum.
Yep.
You've not got the attacks to make up for that lower weapon skill. Am I super, super mad at it? No. I would maybe I'd prefer to pay take notes, Games Workshop, the points premium for those premium combat units in Mechanicum. Maybe obviously your points bump up, you get the weapon skill. And although then it's a premium points cost, at least it's usable.
Yeah, so I think I would have liked to seen it in the Cyber-theurgy powers, where there could have been one that was dedicated to combat, so increasing your weapon skill through that way. And I think that fits in line with the trends that you see throughout the army through the HQs. I think that
what they're going to be doing.
Of what they're going to be doing. I think that would have been really nice. But there are still some things like with Contemptors being everywhere. Your answer to that a little bit would back in old money would have been a Domitar, but now a Domitar really struggles.
And he's like a similar points, right?
Yeah, they're about 145. So,
but worth a lot less than a Contemptor by far. Yeah. So I think you've got the shooting to make up for it. You're certainly not, as a Mechanicum player, out of the running, but you're going to have to be more conscious of your reacting. You're going to have to think about where those reactions are going to go. Because as standard, Automata don't get reactions all the time. So you have to choose what you're going to turn reactions on with.
Yeah. And I think there's a massive worth in this book of taking things that can react by themselves.
Yeah. So Myrmidons are king shit.
Yeah. Thalax, again, really good. There's a special note there for Ursarax, although we're saying combat units aren't great, just for the fact that Ursarax can go about their business themselves does help them a little bit.
It does, and they're not as expensive as some of the... I think they're potentially one of the better combat units for Mechanicum. Not for picking on a really toned up death squad, but they're going to be strength 10 with their fists.
No.
Have they been reduced as well?
No!
Oh, I got that wrong.
The strength 4, toughness 5.
Whatever. Right, moving on.
Moving on to what we're actually
good shooting. Oh yeah, we'll get into. So we'll do Warlord traits and then we'll go through the rest of the HQs. With Mechanicum, you get your core Warlord traits as base, like everyone else. But Warlord traits, let's start there really. So you get the Soul of Cold Iron. Do you want to just start with... Right, let's start with this one. The Logic of Victory is the one
it's the only one you're going to take.
So, but let's quickly just skim through the other ones. A Soul of Cold Iron, a Warlord with this trait and a friendly unit with at least one model within 6 that is pinned may still move and declare charges, but is limited to firing snapshots until it is no longer pinned. Additional reaction in the movement phase. So, extra moving.
Yep.
Good.
Good.
I say good. All right. The downside of this one, I think, is you are predominantly shooting army now.
Yeah. Do you know what the downside for this one?
Go on.
It's not Logic of Victory.
That is true.
that is the
true.
downside of this one.
But
completely.
one thing that sounds similar to Logic of Victory is the Science of Slaughter, Phil. Now, the Science of Slaughter, on the second turn of each combat a Warlord with this trait is engaged in, and each turn it is locked in the same combat after that, it gains +1 weapon skill and +1 strength to a maximum of 10. Once a given combat has ended and the Warlord is no longer locked in combat, the weapon skill and strength is reset to the original values, additional in the assault. So,
do you know what? If that was for a Space Marine Legion, that would be awesome. That would be brilliant. But because you don't want to be in combat with this army, you want to really be shooting, I don't really think it's that good.
It relies on you not getting decimated in the first turn.
Yep.
When a Praetor is... Well, like, on Arch-magos Prime, your weapon skill 4 base. Mm-hmm. So it takes you 2 turns. So you'd be third round of combat until you're hitting on a 4 rather than a 5. And it'll be 4 rounds until you're hitting them on a 3. And what Marine unit that you're not going to beat anyway? If you were in combat in 4 turns, you're going to be...
I think for this
you won that combat anyway.
I think for this aid, like, because there's quite a few units that are stubborn, so you can chew through that unit of stubborn. But I mean, I think it's good. I just don't think it's good for this army.
Yeah, I think it's held you up for too long. If Magoses were weapon skill 5,
I can see it being really, that would probably be a real strong contender.
Maybe because it's just like one fate. They charge you, you're a bit on the back foot. Your turn. We're equal now. Yeah, I'm better than you. Yeah, that would be good, but they're just too shooting focused, right? Yeah. So then the Logic of Victory, the one that we've been waiting for. Do you want to do it? You do it, Phil. Do it. Do it.
This is this because it's really wordy as well. If at no point during the Warlord's controlling player's turn as the active player, a Warlord with this trait has neither made a shooting attack or been locked in combat, then they gain an additional reaction in each phase of the following turn as the reactive player. In addition, a Warlord with this trait and any unit it has joined gains +1 weapon skill and +1 ballistic skill when making attacks as part of any reaction, and +3 initiative or +3 movement when making a move as part of any reaction.
Right, so there's a lot to go into there. So, like, let's start off with how you activate Logic of Victory. Or, like, what can you do while still activating Logic of Victory is more key, I think.
So, there's been an FAQ out for this in particular because Battlesmith replaces a shooting attack. Yeah. And the FAQs come out and says that you can still use Battlesmith and it won't affect Logic of Victory.
So that triggers some Cyber-theurgy. When we get into Cyber-theurgy...
So that means you can fix your automata. Mm. With the FAQ, the sentence has got a bit of text omitted, which kind of looks like they were going to include...
What, as in, like, it's got a black...
Yeah, it says Battlesmith and then there's no... and then nothing. So it looks like the intention for this was that the FAQ is to say, if you don't shoot, you can use Battlesmith and Cyber-theurgy, and you can and Logic of Victory will still be going off. Yeah. However, at the moment, it's that you can Battlesmith and ... And Logic of Victory will work.
So, I think we're coming down on the side of that and is Cyber-theurgy, so long as Cyber-theurgy isn't an actual, like, so long as you're not attacking with that Cyber-theurgy.
I think
because then it would be shooting, right?
Well, no, because it's still a Cyber-theurgy. It's a weapon, but it's still Cyber-theurgy that allows you to do a action, like a psychic power. You do the psychic power in the psychic phase, or you do it in the shooting phase, but it's a psychic power that you do. That's where you do different tests, and you've got different restrictions on that. Told you this book's really complicated.
Yeah. Use your own common sense, or however your gaming group wants to do it, with how that's going to play out. We are in agreement of what you can do.
Battlesmith, Cyber-theurgy. It's only if you shoot a weapon.
And.
Battlesmith and Cyber-theurgy. But if you shoot a weapon, this will actually work.
So, with that, you get an additional reaction each phase, which is excellent.
Huge. So, 6 reactions.
Yeah. So, in that, even though your initiative is quite low across this army, even getting 2 inches is a lot.
Yeah, that's probably the first time that's been said, to be perfectly honest.
Well, it's an extra 2 inches.
It's an extra 2 inches.
It's an extra 2 inches. So, it can come into it quite a lot. It's going to give you 2 shooting reactions.
Yep.
And this is the only way to get 2 shooting reactions without Stoic Defender.
Yep.
So that's really useful. Also
stops people a little bit from multi-charging because you can do 2 assault reactions. You can overwatch with both units.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot here where it leans into that shooting mentality of the unit, because now you can move faster, you can pull back, or you can get into a better position, and then you can really punish people.
And then with your Warlord unit, +1 weapon skill, ballistic skill, and +3 initiative, and +3 movement when reacting.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly good. It makes your Warlord unit better than Marines when they're reacting. So say your Castellax unit, which is initiative 2 normally, goes to initiative 5 for purposes of reacting when moving, attack, so not advance, withdraw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really good. I mean, the Logic of Victory just outshines the other 2 completely.
The only one... See, I want to say, like, on a Myrmidax Lord, and Myrmidax Lord, you get 2 weapons on your Myrmidax, you might steer away from this one.
Yeah.
But even then, as an army-wide buff, you might just not.
But that means that your Myrmidax... We'll move on to that.
Yeah.
But it just means that your Myrmidax Lord, who's there for shooting, isn't going to be shooting.
Yeah. So with that, that's the Warlord traits, and we will get on to Advanced Reaction. So, the Mechanicum Advanced Reaction, Scornful Fire. Scornful Fire. That's not as good of a name as some of the Marine ones. So I think they nailed it with some of the Marine ones.
I keep on calling this like Binary Devastation for some reason. And that's just completely nowhere near what the name is.
Binary Devastation.
I don't know why. I must have read it somewhere.
I think actually that's a better... or maybe Binaric to make it more 40k or 30k. Just that grim data, like Binaric. So, it's an advanced reaction that can only be used once per battle. Now, I'm not doing that to Phil because he does it more than once per battle. I'm doing that to Phil because I'm just comforting that every time we have to say once per battle, we know advanced reactions are once per battle. Right, so during the shooting phase, when an enemy unit declares a shooting attack targeting a unit with at least 1 independent character special rule under the reactor player's control, which is part of the Mechanicum detachment, the reacting unit and any friendly Mechanicum units eligible to make a reaction within 12 inches may make a shooting attack targeting the unit which triggered this reaction and following all the standard rules for shooting attacks. I think I covered that pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah, any unit that makes a shooting reaction as part of this counts as having made a reaction. So, you've got to be able to make a reaction. So that's... Your automata will need to have been Cyber-theurgy.
Yeah.
So that's really quite... It's as limiting as your Mechanicum units are in general.
So it's not just that the automata has to make be able to make a reaction, but the unit that's being targeted has to have an independent character as well.
So it's going to be 2 units.
2 units. And I think that's a big restriction on this.
Or 2 or 3 units.
Yeah. It is though.
I've never really seen you get it off.
No, because no one will let you get it off because it's absolutely deadly. If you think so. my usual army has got a couple of Thanatars in it, and I've got some Myrmidons, and I've got a unit of 5 Castellax. If I've got my 2 Thanatars, my Castellax, and so you shoot at the Myrmidons that has an independent character, whoever shoots it is just gone. That's just dead. Scornfully, or binarically. So it's just...
I'm going to return fire with my petulant fire.
So it's just gone.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people really are aware of that. So if there is a big nasty unit, because we're not great in close combat, it's tying that unit up in close combat. And I've seen that a lot more. Or, making sure that shooting at things that can't react and picking them off. Because anything that can't react then automatically becomes the target.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. And that is just one of the downsides of Mechanicum. But it's a great rule. It's like the Sons of Horus rule, but better.
Yeah.
Or the Ultramarines rule, but better.
It's a great reaction. It's a great reaction. And there'll be somebody, you'll probably get it off once against...
And then
never again. But anyone who's read this book or now watches this video will be like, no, you're not doing that.
Yeah. But I must have just been lucky to have accidentally never triggered it from you. But, yeah, it's good. It's just falls under your Mechanicum downsides.
Yeah.
So let's get into HQs. So we'll go over the basic unit profiles of the Arch-magos, and then we'll get into the high Techno-Arcana, which are like the Cyber-theurgy and how you're going to structure your force, really. So the Arch-magos Prime, 155 points, 0 to 1. You have feudal hierarchy, which means you can only ever have 1 in your force.
Yeah.
Unless you're Achimendrite, in which case we'll come to that. We'll come to that. Don't worry about it. So we've got movement 6, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 5, strength toughness 5, 3 wounds, initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 10 and a 2-up save. Now you get a power weapon standard.
Yep.
You get Volkite Serpenta, a 4-up invulnerable from Mechanicum Protectiva, and a Cortex controller.
Yeah.
And you get a massive list of options.
and special rules as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just look at the list of the special rules that are on there.
Battlesmith 4+, feudal hierarchy, firing protocols 3, independent character, master cyber-theurgist, the ordos of the high Techno-Arcana, relentless and stubborn. Now, instead of listing out a bunch of things, how do you set up your... So Phil plays Cybernetica mainly, right?
Yeah.
And, mainly.
Yeah.
How do you tend to set up your Arch-magos?
So...
And then I'll go over how I tend to set up mine.
So mine would be Augury Scanner.
Yeah.
Cyber Familiar.
Yeah. So then you're on a 3-up save.
So I'm on a 3-up invulnerable save, so 2-up followed by a 3-up, really tanky, staying around for ages. I take a Power Fist, because at 5 points, that's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And then I take a Machinator Array. Machinator Array gives you +2 to any repair rolls, which is your Battlesmith.
Yeah.
So really good. Also, you can feed all your attacks through your Machinator Array as well.
Yeah.
Even though it's still unwieldy, sometimes you're like, do you know what? With Shred, you can go through that. And being then Strength 6, it's then instant death in Marines, getting rid of that Feel No Pain, and you're getting more attacks through.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how I take my... Oh, I mention Rad Grenade?
So you Machinator Array. Yeah. I was going to actually say Rad Grenade. You've missed Rad Grenade.
Yeah, no, Rad Grenade is something that I take on them now as well.
Yeah, because of that -1, you're then doubling out. If you get Strength 6, you're doubling out a Marine, which is very useful. Makes things just flow that little bit nicer, doesn't it, in the first round of combat?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, do you ever take an additional weapon on instead? The Arch-magos may take one of the following additional weapons options, or a Myrmidax may take 2, but may not select a Rad Furnace. Do you ever do any of that?
No.
No.
Because mine are there to buff my automata units.
Yeah.
And if I start shooting, I can't do Cyber-theurgy powers. So I don't take any additional weapon.
Not a Rad Furnace?
I have looked at the Rad Furnace a little bit more now, and I think I might lean towards it because the Rad Furnace still goes off when people charge if they're in base to base.
Which then becomes a -2.
Which -2 to somebody's toughness in the first round. So that's something I have started looking at, which means that I'd probably change the power weapon as well that I take. Instead of taking a power axe, which I do because it's very Mechanicum, I'd probably look at a power sword because it's strength 5 then. You're doubling people out.
You see, and I imagine you mastercrafting one of your weapons because it's 5 points. Yeah. So how I tend to look at running mine, so I've got 2 ways of. I've been setting them up as like Reductor.
Right.
So, and this is because I like Iron Warriors have a big Reductor contingent, and also Myrmidax because I stumbled into a load of Myrmidon type things for my Mechanicum force. So, for a Reductor thing, I'd been thinking like Rad Grenades, Cyber Familiar Auguries, kind of pretty similar to how you're setting it up.
Yeah.
The one difference would be I'd always give him that second Power Fist. Exchange the power weapon and Volkite Spenta for 2 power fists. Because it's +1 attack for an extra 5 points.
I haven't thought of that, actually.
At strength 5 base, a Paragon Blade at +15 points, if you got a Rad Furnace or Rad Grenades, one or the other, you're now strength 6 and doubling a Marine out with a initiative 4. So actually, it's that very cheap to get that +1 attack.
That Paragon Blade may be the way that I'm looking at going. Yeah. Yeah. I think the Paragon Blade has got some serious weight there for 15 points.
And you just add your Machinator arrays +2 attacks. Yes, so you're actually up to quite a healthy number of attacks at that point. But you've got to have had the Machinator array. Mm-hmm. With that, what I actually quite like doing as well is in an Inoculum jetpack. In a big blob of Thalax. And Thalax aren't the greatest, but they've got a big blob of wounds. You can be quite tanky with your Arch-magos. And this is where like the Myrmidon, I know he's maybe should be with Myrmidons if in Myrmidax, but he's the Lord, he can go with whoever he wants. Jetting about with some Myrmidons with double grav gun actually adds such an anti-tank component to that army. And it's so mobile, it can just get anywhere, fix problems as it goes along. I do find that has been a staple of mine through Heresy 1, and it will be going through Heresy 2.
So one thing with this, and it's massive change by the way, you're just saying fixing, is that you can battlesmith without actually having a server arm or a Machinator array.
Yes, because it's always built into
built into it. So, you're right, you can have that jump pack and just flip around everywhere. I need to be over here, this thing needs fixing, or I want to come over here, I need to do it, I'm out of Cyber-theurgy range, I want to come back, with a 12-inch move.
Yeah.
Because that's what it gets from the jump pack. That's really, really good. And also then being able to move 6 inches after it's shot.
Yes. Yeah, well, it just adds that bit. It might not end up in the punchiest or anything like that, but it's such a problem solver of a unit with a jump pack that I think it ends up very good.
No, that would be something I'd be interested to try out. It's not something I'd usually do, but I'll definitely look at that.
So, onto the Arch-magos Prime with Abeyant. Essentially, you get an extra toughness, an extra wound, and you gain... Did you not have stubborn on? Yeah, you do have stubborn on there. I saw stubborn and was like... Ugh. So you can't have both an Arch-magos Prime on Abeyant and an Arch-magos Prime. Essentially, it's exactly the same, but minus the jetpack.
Yeah, and
the plus toughness and wound.
It's got -1 initiative as well.
Oh, it does as well.
Yeah,
but you're still going... So you're striking behind tactical marines and stuff. Not too bad because you're still striking before fists if you have a Paragon Blade.
Yeah. One thing to mention with this, though, and...
It gains monstrous.
Not monstrous. I'm ignoring that completely. It's the unit type it gets, anti-grav.
Yeah.
So there's certain things it can't do, like cover, landing in, terrain. You've got to be really careful with it. Although it's got this high toughness, high wounds, you can still end up like doing yourself some serious damage if you're not thinking about where the unit is going.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it does get monstrous as well.
Now, you, a lot of the time, have been using on Abeyant, haven't you?
Yes.
Because that extra toughness, the extra wound, if you fail a Cyber-theurgy check...
It means that I can still play around with the wounds. Having 5 wounds, if I fail 2, I've still got 3 wounds left, so he's still going to... They Not sure.
Rather than hit.
Yeah, well, I have no idea what mine are.
Once you've left your mortal coil behind.
Yeah. So they are able then to still comfortably take part in the game on 3 wounds, where if you're looking at just the normal Arch-magos Prime, if you fail 2, you've got 1 wound left. That's too much of a risk for me.
Yeah, the difference between 5 and 2 is in fact... Huge. So 5 and 3 is in fact, 2. It's good, it is, as you say, it gives you that bit of extra play in what you're doing with it. Shall we go through the Dominus, or should we go through the Cyber-theurgy and Orders of the High Techno-Arcana
I think
first?
Go through the Master Cyber-theurgy and the Orders of High Techno-Arcana, since that might tie into the Arch...
it ties into the Arch-magos themselves. Yeah. So, let's go Achimandrite last.
Okay.
Because that... So basically, just as a very quick little thing of it, the Achimandrite combines 2 other Cyber-theurgies. So to understand why you would ever take Achimandrite, you'll need to know what else we do.
Yeah.
So the Orders of the High Techno-Arcana are basically how you would structure your force.
They're your Legion traits, really.
Or even your doctrines, rights of war.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar to that is how you think about them. Now, Cybernetica, I'll let you run through Cybernetica because it's what you've been taking mostly.
So Cybernetica, Cohort Cybernetica, all Castellax battle automata, maniples, an attachment that includes a model with this special rule gain the line subtype. So scoring Castellax.
Excellent.
That's it, it's brilliant. Right.
Yeah, big tubs of wounds.
Big tubs of wounds that are able to sit on objectives, they're able to shoot. They're not great in combat, but do have a bit of a punch. So they're a scary unit.
Yeah, you're not going to win against a combat unit, but like tactical marines, you might, and you do lose some. They're on like the level of tac marines in combat. I'd say.
I think so.
I would say.
I think so. And with dark fire cannons, they become a scary unit to even charge, because if they can overwatch, they're ripping through something.
So the cameras stop at 30 minutes.
Oh, right, okay.
So yeah, if you overwatch, they're scary to run into. They've got AP3 on the shock chargers.
AP3, strength use at AP3, so wounding on 2s, getting rid of 3-up saves, just like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
They'll be going before crack grenades.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can drill down into it, I suppose, at the Castellax bit. But yeah, I think that's really good as a line type. Mm-hmm. Even... like just a couple of Castellax sat on an objective, is high toughness, really good. Network Sensorium protocols. What the hell is that, Phil?
When making shooting attacks, models with the automata unit type in a detachment that includes a model with this special rule reduce the benefits of any cover save the target unit has by -2. Example, a 4+ becoming a 6+, a 5+ being ignored entirely. If the model making the shooting attack is within 12 inches of 2 or more friendly models with Cortex controllers.
Cover never really does anything anymore.
It's useless. It's honestly, I don't think it's a nice tickle.
Yeah.
But it's not really useful because cover is so low now. It doesn't matter. If this was again old money and we were seeing 2-up cover saves with people going to ground,
or even they had 3-ups from a building,
then moving that to a 5-up or a 6-up would be great. But this here isn't really that useful.
Well, I suppose it's good because it denies you something. It denies you a save, but as you say, cover isn't that massive anymore.
No. It's more line of sight blocking that you see in more of a trend.
Yeah. So, preservation protocols.
A model with this special rule gains the Patris Cybernetica special rule, in addition when joined to a unit with the automata unit type. Any wounds which will be allocated to the character, even those caused by precision strikes or sniper special rules, may instead be allocated to a model with the automata unit type first. Keeps your guy around.
Yeah, really good. I like that one.
Keeps your guy around. Allows him to join automata, because he's not usually allowed.
Because what is it? Patris Cybernetica gives you Master of Automata special rule. Master of Automata special rule allows you to join
automata.
Is that the chain as well? It's not even like this does that exact thing. It gives you the chain. Rules.
So just the fact that they can't be sniped out of units is really, really good. It's quite solid, to be honest, Cybernetica. Yeah. It's got some really good benefits. One of the things to really mention, though, like Arch-magos don't come with Patch Cybernetica as a standard. So if you want to be around buffing for a while, Cybernetica is your way to go, really.
Unless you're in like a Guardian blob.
Unless you're with a Guardian blob, like your Skill Axe or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I like it. The one downside you're going to have with Cybernetica is you're going to have 2 Dominuses and like as an army structure.
Yeah.
So like 3 total casters so that you can force reactions onto units.
I think that's it. If you
lean into it.
Yeah, if you lean heavily into it, then nothing can react, which is a massive part of Heresy now. So you're going to have to take 3 HQ choices. You're going to have to. There's no 2 ways about it. You need to really spread that out to make sure and you have that you're getting the benefit of it, and also activating people at the right time.
Yeah.
Because if these Dominuses, Magos Dominus is attached to a unit that shoots, that Dominus has got to then do its Cyber-theurgy. If you can't come back to it afterwards, so you really need to have this overlapping strategy in your shooting phase.
Right. So then, Lycromata, these are the flesh smiths, like gene lab people of the Mechanicum. So you get incorruptible flesh. Any hits allocated to a model with this special rule, or any model in the infantry type unit they can join, with the rending or poisoned or flesh bane, only affect that model on a 6. So basically, rending only goes off on a 6. Doesn't affect breaching.
No.
So plasma guns will still go AP2.
Will still do it. Like in the Mechanicum, but the plasma mortar still does it. So I think this is where breaching starts becoming into its own a little bit more as a rule.
Yes. Opus Viscera, basically Battlesmith, allows you to either restore a lost wound, make an immediate move, the number of inches equal to twice the initiative characteristic of the majority of models in the unit. The movement is not running, and therefore, if it didn't run in the movement phase, it may still make shooting attacks and declare charges. Let's just get through the rest of it. Sanguine Hook, a model with this special rule gains the
inferior Lacramatata.
Cybernet.
I just butchered that.
Yeah, basically that's Cyber-theurgy Arcana, and may not select any others. So we'll go over that particular Arcana in a second.
Yep.
Oh, we'll do them all later. So restoring a lost wound is like okay. Well, it's actually quite good, right? But the real star of this show is moving twice your initiative characteristic. Chris, as you will see coming up, who's the Iron Hands player on the channel, has worked out that you can use Mechanicum Battle Brothers to do this with Marines.
Yes.
Or Custodes. And that is absolutely horrendous.
So you're moving... So I think this is... If you look at just Mechanicum, their initiative is quite low. It's usually initiative 2. Initiative 3 is very rare. So moving 4 inches or 6 inches isn't too egregious.
A lot of your Mechanicum units that can benefit from this, that are infantry, aren't that great in combat, so it's not a killer of a thing.
Exactly. So when you're looking at infantry, you're looking at your Thalax, Ursarax, your
Adsecularis,
Adsecularis. So
the real stars of the show.
They're not great. They've got some real boosts, but they're not great. So it's okay in a mech army.
Yeah.
You put it in a marine army. It's
wild.
It's obscene. It's obscene.
And Chris spotted this for us and came up with it. Somebody might have come up with it somewhere else before, but doing this has arrived in our meta.
So 7 inches move with then an 8-inch move from the Opus Viscera, and then you've got your charge.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So well done, Chris.
You've ruined 30k.
Yeah. So we'll get on to Macrotech. So these are basically the large factories of the Mechanicum and the priests that run them of the Forge Worlds. So the high engines here, Tech Priest Auxilia units in the attachment with this model may be taken as troops. However, Tech Priest Auxilia taken in this way must choose the engines here, Techno-Arcana. That's all right. They've already got line though. It's all right if you already want to take a load of.
Yeah, I mean, moving them elite slots are really usually tested sometimes. I don't think that tested in Mechanicum, so moving them down to troops, I don't really get.
Actually, a lot of the things that I want to take when I'm writing a Mechanicum list, I end up maxing out my troops.
Yeah.
Because your Thalax are there, your Castellax are there. Yeah. I do actually want some Ad Secularis a lot of the time just for a really cheap scoring unit
to throw in an objective. So I actually don't. Yeah, it's all right, but I don't really see the massive need to move him down a slot or move him into the troop slot.
So the Moderati Munitoria, during the battle setup, but before objective markers have been placed or deployment determined, the player that controls a model with this special rule may choose to move up to 3 pieces of terrain up to 6 inches, so long as they don't end up within 2 inches of another piece of terrain. It can only be used once. Basically, take it in turns if you both have this rule. I really like that. I think that can be massively game altering.
Yeah.
You can bottleneck easily. You can close up lines of approach. If you've got some tank traps on the board, you can.
No, I still think it's got the same worth even that. I still think it has. You might want to just make a gun alley and just change the terrain, move it all out of the way. With your high toughness of most of your units, you can stand out in the open and take those shots.
Much more so than Marines.
More so than Marines, yeah.
Yeah. So, really useful at this point. Reductor Adefici. Rector Adefici.
Yeah.
Models
These are obviously the Italian ones, aren't they?
Models of the Battlesmith X special rule may repair buildings in addition to units with the vehicle dreadnought or automator. In addition, gain the following effect. Until the start of the next player's turn, any hits allocated to the chosen model with the breaching, exoshock or rending only effect on a 6. Not that great. When do people play with buildings that often?
There's not enough depth in sort of the fortifications bit to be able to do that. Yeah. If you saw some
also it's still only a 5-up cover save for fortifications.
Exactly. If you saw if fortifications had a 4-up or a 3-up cover save, great, you'd probably see them a bit more. If they also had weapons then that were really strong, really powerful, then you'd probably see this a bit more.
Do you know what I'd actually really like? What? Heresy 2 to go back to 4-up cover in buildings. 5-up for woods.
I think fortifications, I would be happy with fortifications.
But still, we've literally just said that cover isn't good enough.
Yeah, but I think 4 for me there. I said it's not good enough.
3 for a fortification. Well, at least you're a Mechanicum player that wants to stand out in the open.
Well, that's it.
Get
exactly.
Ben. Right, so that was just a bit of an aside. So, Malagra, you've got Ictus Incendiae.
Spanish
like Harry Potter. So any models with the character unit subtype in this detachment that includes a model with this special rule may upgrade a machinator array or servo arm for an ill-built prehensile data spike. So, these are the assassins of the Mechanicum, basically. A prehensile data spike.
It's strength 5, AP 4, melee, breaching 4+, murderous strike 6+, reach 2.
So it makes you effectively on an Arch-magos that's on Abeyant, initiative 5, the same as a Praetor. If you're not on an Abeyant, it makes you initiative 6. A machinator or server arm to an inbuilt prehensile data spike. I think you're tough enough to not need to do that. To not need that reach 2.
So
to get it. It can be useful sometimes, but we go up against each. You're the Praetor, right? I'm the Magos. Right.
I'm not taking those 5 wounds off you. All those.
Exactly. And I've got rad grenades that only affect you. And I go, rad grenades. Right, I'm going to smack you with my Paragon Blade. Yeah. Yes, I need a 5 to hit you. But I only need 1 to go through. And even if you've got... I know Thunder Hammers are great, but you're not instant deathing me.
No.
So it's slightly less great. Yeah, I've got 3-up Invuln. Yeah. Everything's coming up mech at that point.
This data spike as well. One of the things I don't like about it is that when you look at the other servo arms, they're strength 6 or strength 10, where this one is strength 5.
Yeah.
And I don't. That's the thing that I think.
It's only doing one wound.
It's only doing one wound. That's what I don't like about it. If it was strength 6, I'd probably be like.
So it could double out with that Machinator array.
I think. Oh, do you know what? It's got a bit more legs in this, but I don't. I don't like it being strength 5.
Do you know what the thing that you could do is you could be having you're on an Abeyant, let's say. You've got your Machinator array that you change for like your prehensile data spike, your rad furnace and rad grenades that stack. You now only need to be strength 4 to double out a marine praetor. That's I suppose the benefit of this.
That is, but
you're only doing it with 2 attacks. You're relying on them failing their invuln.
You've still got the Machinator array though. You've still got the Machinator array.
I'd definitely do that. Then.
So this is the thing where I think lets it down even more. So I'm paying 35 points for this, but I've still got a Machinator array which is strength 6 with.
But that's just a backup. That's good. That's really good. It's just a backup. You have it. I definitely go for that.
Oh, I'm not convinced.
Do you know what? That change as if you go, I'd only go for it with rad grenades and a rad furnace. No way I would go for it without that being a doubling out thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the other thing as well,
then you just go, whatever. I've failed. Whatever. I just tank all your wounds, and then I just do you in with the Machinator array.
Yep. But yeah, it's inbuilt. It doesn't replace.
Let's go on to Interfector Auxilia. Tech Priest Auxilia units in an attachment that includes a model with a special rule may either choose Infector, Techno-Arcana instead of Engineer or anything else. Interfector. Tech Priest and Magos Auxilia in the units are equipped with prehensile data spike in addition to models in the unit gain the Scout special rule. They've got line.
Yep.
Because they're Engineers.
Yep.
That's right, isn't it? I'm not remembering that wrong. Let's double check this while we just on. Talk amongst yourself.
Is this where you put like that 2 weeks later?
Yes. No, I only do that when you forget something. So yes, they've definitely got line. I like that for starting on an objective. Prehensile data spike. It's not combined with a rad grenades or rad furnace here.
Yeah.
So throw it out. Don't need that.
It's a free upgrade though.
Yeah, but
I don't mind a free. I think the Scout is better.
Yeah, that's what you come here for.
Yeah.
Because it means you can start on Dominion objectives.
Yeah.
That's the key here. When you've got multiple objectives, you start scoring at the start of your turn. You are like an annoying Raven Guard army that infiltrates onto them all.
Yeah. Do you know what? The thing that I would have liked more for this is if that unit got the prehensile data spike, because you can take servitors
Yes.
with them. So if you can take servitors, they can take servo arms.
Yeah.
And if they all got the data spike as well,
or to really just go in.
I think just like you'd have this like line scoring unit that can scout, and then has actually got a bit of punch behind it.
Real fast punch.
Yeah, I would have liked it if it was everything in that unit that got it that had a servo arm, and that's where I come with this. I think it just that wouldn't have been too much of a bonkers change because servitors are still weapon skill. Do you know what? 3.
I like these 2 rules up to now for these Malagra. We're about to get to a bit which I despise. Or it's going to secondarily have a bit that I despise. Sacred Mission. A single Acuita Magisterium unit in the detachment that includes a model with a special rule may be taken as a HQ choice. A unit taken in this way loses the Lone Hunter special rule and gains Scout and Court of Executioners. Note that it's still a 0 to 1 choice, so if taken as HQ, it can't be taken as elites, etc. etc. As a unit, may take 2 additional Acuita Magisterium for 110 points each. When deployed on the battlefield, must be deployed in coherency, but afterwards operate independently. Right. That unit, the Mech Assassin, is loyalist only.
Yeah, so this is a loyalist only.
Oh, it's not because you may take it. This doesn't actually specify that you have to take it or it's loyalist only. So you can have your lone traitor Magos running about taking out loyalist Mechanicum forces.
Could you? Because you can't take a loyalist person in a traitor.
You can't take you can't take an Acuita Magisterium, but you only may take it. You don't have to. You're not forced to take it.
Right.
In this, so this Malagra may take a unit of that assassin type.
Okay.
It doesn't have to.
Right.
And there's nothing that locks this entire high Techno-Arcana to Loyalist.
No.
What I hate about it is the fact that why can't my evil Mechanicum that believe they're in the right, why have they not got their own assassins?
Yeah. No,
why have only the Loyalists got assassins?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it's a unique idea. Like, do you know, like, it's not like, so one day the Loyalist Mechanicum was suddenly like, Phil.
What about these over here? Should we use these guys?
Assassins.
Yeah.
Assassins.
Because see you after like 10 pints and like, do you know what we need? Assassins. And then the traitor guy's there just whittling away.
Do you know what I was watching the other
tinkering.
night?
What?
The Last Samurai. Do you know what they had? Ninja. We need some ninja, Phil.
Mechanicum ninja. Mechanical ninjas.
Yeah.
Clockwork ninjas. Yeah, let's do it.
Exactly. But Tom Cruise's faction are not having the mechanical.
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I like it if you're a Loyalist player. That's a really cool unit. We'll get obviously to it in the elite section. But why Forge World?
Yeah, I don't get it.
So anyway, Skindex Malagras, a model with this special rule gains the preferred enemy characters, precision strikes 5+, and monster hunter special rules. In addition, increases the weapon skill to 5 and attacks to 3. So you now still hit Praetors on 5s, but you hit most Marine units on 3s, and a lot of them on, or the better ones on 4s. So actually it makes you much more of a combat character. You're getting that prehensile off a lot more. You're getting all your attacks just become... What is bad about getting your weapon skill increased and your attacks increased?
I think this... It sends you down like a completely different way. And I do like the Malagra...
Yes.
As an order of high Techno-Arcana. But the thing is that there's not a lot of units that can support them in combat. So Malagra's really good.
You can't join Automata.
You can't join Automata, so you've got
Ursarax. Skillax, maybe.
Skillax.
But they're not that great.
No, but you've got Ursarax.
Yeah. And you've not got Brutal 2, so you can't, like, Ferrous Blob something.
Yeah, so you've got... That's it.
Yeah.
So I really like the direction this went, but because of the restrictions of the entire faction, I think it lets itself down a little bit.
Yeah, it's not to say that you can't have success running it. I think if your opponent rolls that 1 and you've rolled a few like hits, you can very easily just like win against an enemy Praetor by prehensile data spiking them to death. He just needs that little bit of love. So Myrmidax, and this is my bread and butter now along with Reductor. Nice that they're both on the same page, so I only have to remember 101. Right, Myrmidax. A single Thanatar Siege Automata maniple consisting of a single model may be taken as a non-compulsory HQ choice in a detachment. Basically, it can't take Paragon of Metal, so you need like a character nearby with a Cortex controller if you want to choose where to fire it.
Yep.
While wholly within 6 of a Thanatar Calyx taken as a HQ choice, Myrmidon Secateur host and Myrmidon Destructor host gain line and +1 to wounds in assault phase.
Yep.
So I like that it puts a Thanatar into your HQs. You're not going to massively be taking a load of Dominuses a lot of the time, as in a Myrmidax like section. I've not found me ever wanting to put that many Automata units and therefore that many Dominus units in my Myrmidax. I do think the 6-inch range, wholly within 6
so
inches.
You've got to literally wrap the Thanatar. Yeah. You can't just have one model within 6. You've got to have the entire unit. Yeah,
I think that is too limiting.
Yeah.
I think maybe if you could join the unit with the Thanatar.
The Myrmidons join the unit.
The Thanatar gains like the apothecary style joining where you become part of the same unit. That should have been what happened, I think, here. Because Thanatar are like kind of hard, right?
Yeah.
Right, they're hard. Because somebody will definitely have something to say about me saying they're kind of hard. They're not too hard to destroy. Yeah. They do get destroyed. And when you've only got one of these things, making units of Myrmidons wholly within 6, So you're doing it to one objective. That Thanatar dies. Myrmidons are no longer scoring.
Yep.
And
the
that
fact
is
that
too difficult to do.
It can't take Paragon of Metal either. So it will not die if it gets Paragon of Metal.
Yeah, he's the star of the show. He's making them lines.
So I
why isn't he not a Paragon?
Exactly. I do like it's a Kallax.
Well, the Kallax are really good now, right? They strength 10, armor bane, 3 shots, AP 2.
Shock pulse.
You really loved it, but I just destroy you, mate.
Yeah, but it's for your dreadnoughts that though. You can't wipe a dreadnought off in one turn with them. So
yes, but I think you're a bit wasted fire. I think you wasted firing that at a dreadnought.
I've got nobody takes any tanks in Manchester.
Yeah, but I when you're doing a Myrmidax cult, you're gonna have 2 things in abundance.
Yeah.
And that is plasma and grav. And you're gonna have a lot of shots with them. You do not need to fire that at your dreadnought.
No, that's true.
I think this might be the only army that, not the only, but like one of the armies that doesn't have much about dreadnoughts. Yeah. Myrmidon host secateurs can be troops, and destructors gain elites or taken as elites. You can also take it as elites and HQ respectively. Sorry, heavy support respectively.
Yeah.
But do that. Vessel of Destruction. A model with this special rule gains hatred everything, bulky 3, and increases wounds characteristic to 5. So you don't need an abeyant to get that 5 wounds.
Well, it can't take an abeyant either.
Oh, is it like...
Yeah.
Oh, so in the Arch-magos bit.
In the Arch-magos bit, you can't...
No, you can't, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's
obviously, Phil, you can't take an abeyant.
Just not a brave... Not only a brave face.
I think that's really good, given, even if, jetpack, Paragon Blade, you've got hatred everything, rad grenades, you can fly about, just going, ba, 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 China bow.
China bow,
yeah, exactly.
Your 2 weapons as well, pick what you're going to take. Is it two photon thrusters? Is it grav guns? You've got some great weapons there. Probably wouldn't take the photon thrusters.
No, because it's AB2 gets hot.
Yeah, you're only ballistic skill 5, so you can't re-roll those ones.
Well, as I said before, I really like the grav, because you can do dreadnoughts in with it.
Yep.
You can do, what's it, Majigger? Vehicles in with it.
Vehicles.
Yeah, I like the grav. Phase plasma fusel is also really good, but it's that 5 points. I don't know, for some reason makes me not want to put it there.
one because we're talking about some of the unique stuff that Mechanicum have access to. 2 melter guns. If you've got a jump pack, you can easily get within 12 inches.
Yeah, you 12-inch move with the jump pack.
Yeah.
That's, really useful.
So I think 2 melter guns might have some worth.
Flip back out of danger.
And then you can flip back out of danger.
Yeah, you maybe with Thalax, if you've got a jump pack, they've got multi-melters as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can be basically the tank at the head of the Thalax. Yeah, I think it works really well. I think the dual weapons work especially well with the jump pack.
Yeah. The only downside to the Myrmidax, which is why you have to just lean so heavily into Myrmidons, is that you're not going to be using Cyber-theurgy powers because you're then wasting that double weapon upgrade.
Yes.
So
Logic of Victory.
And this is where we were saying before, Logic of Victory just won't work because you're going to be shooting every turn.
Yes. So on to Reductor. You get Demolisher. Basically, it's like doing a single hull point if you're in base contact with this list of things, and it's terrible.
Yes.
You'd never do that. Not you'd never do that, but you're going to destroy that anyway. Yeah. And if I'm already in base contact with it in my turn, in order to be able to do that shooting attack, I suppose you could return fire and take a wound off a building. But I'll just slap a melter bomb on it or hit it with my strength 10 fist, thanks.
And also it takes away your battlesmith.
Yeah. And it does one attack.
Yeah.
With the battlesmith. It
removes your battlesmith, so you can't actually fix anything.
Yeah.
But you just can do damage if you get into combat with your stuff. Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, so Harbinger of Destruction. During setup, the player that controls a model with a special rule may nominate 3 areas of terrain. If it provides a cover save, that cover save is removed and counts as difficult and dangerous. So it's basically like the Iron Warrior's Warlord trait, but it does it to 3 areas of terrain rather than 1. And that Warlord trait is a bit of a sleeper. I really rate that as the Iron Warrior's Warlord trait to take, and this does it 3 times. If it's an intact building with an armor value, +1. And if you both got it, every piece of terrain on the board is going to be no cover save.
Yeah. I like the idea, the visual sort of thing in my head where like they're shelling it.
Yeah.
Like they've got some Minotaurs in the back just shelling the ground, and like it's just wasteland, urban, but like it's quite poor.
You could use Minotaurs as the markers for what's been removed, because obviously Minotaurs are now completely useless, so you'd never use one actually in game. Other than you use it as a paperweight on top of your book.
So I'm going to have on my desk just a big Minotaur, just a Minotaur, like when people put reports, when I get the Weenus report.
I do imagine you inputting the Weenus all week. So the Secrets of Annihilation, a model with it. Oh, and if you didn't get, Harring of the Destruction is amazingly good. So Secrets of Annihilation, a model with this special rule, gains Artificia Reductor, but may not select any other Cyber-theurgic Arcana from those available. So shall we go through Achimandrite, or should we go through...
let's go through Achimandrite.
Yeah, let's do Achimandrite. So these are like the boss of the Forge World. They're at the top of the ladder.
Yeah. Big cheese.
You must be the army's warlord, so you can't take it if there's a Primarch there, who also must be the army's warlord.
Or some special characters.
In addition, a Mechanicum army that includes a model with this special rule may include a Mechanicum allied detachment. An Arch-magos Prime or Prime on Abeyant may be included in that allied detachment, but they cannot select an Achimandrite Order of High Techno-Arcana. Which is a bit of a shame, because it means that
you'd be like Russian dolling with...
No, but I don't think you should be able to select another Achimandrite.
Yeah, you can. You cannot select.
Yeah. Sorry, I read that wrong. So you can select like Cybernetica and gain Patris Cybernetica from that. Yeah. Really, really good. I like that.
That's
I
amazing.
like how he's like the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, so or you can do like Reductor and be like 3 terrains gone in a bit.
Yeah.
And I've got my normal dude.
Or you can have your Malagra Assassin while still got your normal dude. Yeah. So I think that, the Bonds of Vassalage?
Yeah, you make a vassal out of them.
That is amazing.
Be my vassal. Magister Theurgica, a model with a special rule may select an additional Cyber-theurgic Arcana from those available to it. Now, we'll get into that later, because we'll have to go through Cyber-theurgy separately, which we'll do in a sec, right after this, in fact. That's really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Master Technomancer, models with a Battlesmith X special rule in this detachment that includes a model with this special rule, may add the following effect to the list of options they apply. Until the end of the shooting phase, may make shooting attacks with the ballistic skill of the model that used Battlesmith instead of its own. Mm-hmm. So say, it usually only goes up by 1 point, right?
Yeah, so when you're looking at the Arch-magos doing this, it's ballistic skill 5, so it's really going to help things like Castellax and Thanatar when you're doing any sort of battlesmith on them.
Yeah, maybe it'd help tanks if tanks were any good in this edition, but it's.
I think that's really great. But
I think it's a good little thing, but would you waste your Battlesmith on that versus, say, restoring hull points to your Thanatar and just making it shoot twice?
No.
Or until the end of the shooting phase, the target gains the power of Machine Spirit special rule. So you basically can split fire. Not that great. It's good, but like a lot of the things you're going to be adding to, like Battlesmith, nowadays, I tend to find people using on monstrous creatures. Or on Cybernetica, sorry, monstrous creatures don't exist, do they? So, but a lot of them is, well, I'm just going to fire everything at that one unit anyway. They don't really care if I fire, like, my Maxim Bolter.
At ballistic skill 5.
No, a different target. Like, if I find my Maxim Bolter on my Thanatar.
Oh, right, okay. So, yeah, you could Machine Spirit your Thanatar into shooting 2 different things, but you'd usually go into the same thing.
Yeah, but I don't care. I just fire both at the same infantry squad.
I want, for Thanatars in particular, I want the...
if my Magos
I want the Mauler Bolter because it's got pinning to hit the unit so it can't react to the other gun.
Yeah. So, and I just don't think it's the best bit. But I do think 2 Cyber-theurgy is good. Bonds of Vassalage is really cool even if it's not like a great benefit in itself, it gives you 2 powerful Magos. So you can pay the points to get that benefit.
You're also taking technically two right of wars. If you break it down into marine things.
Yeah, because that allied detachment can take Myrmidons as troops.
Yeah, you could take Myrmidax, you could take Cybernetica, you can do all that there. And because there'll be Battle Brothers as well, they can share those benefits. Share the benefits.
So, on to Cyber-theurgy powers. So, it's basically a psychic power that isn't a psychic power, but is a psychic power.
Yes.
If you follow.
Yeah.
Basically, if you fail the test, effects that modify psychic powers have no effects on Cyber-theurgy, which is why it's not a psychic power. But other than that, it's a psychic power.
You take a leadership test to use one. Some of them will allow you to just apply an effect without doing a test. One thing here with psychic powers, you can only take invulnerables. With this, you can take damage mitigation rolls. So it's a bit of a change there. So your Arch-magoses do not have any built-in damage mitigation. Your Magus Dominuses have a 5-up feel no pain.
Yes.
So
you were really upset when you found that out.
I was fuming.
What?
Toys
What?
went out on the pram and
What?
everything. I was fuming.
Yeah. So Cyber-theurgy weapons are just not power weapons, are like psychic weapons.
Yeah.
Let's just get into the Arcana, Jesus. So basically, if you fail it, you take a single wound.
Yeah, which is a lot better than a psychic power because you don't take D3. But the model has to take the wound, and it's not the unit.
Well, that's why you want an abeyant a lot of the time, so that you've got those extra wounds
in case you fail. Yeah.
You get Artificia Machina or Artificia Machina.
Yeah.
So you get
Animatus Integro.
No, let's say it with more flourish.
Animatus Integro. I want a one put in my...
No, there's more of a swish
more
and flick.
More of a swish and flick.
Yeah. So it's this manipulating the machine spirits of any complex machine capable of remote activation of repair. But what if they've not got the servo arms already that can actively repair themselves? How do they do that? It's like have you seen that film where what's it called? Johnny Depp makes himself into the cloud, and he makes like little nanobots. No, anyway, if you know that film, it's sort of like that. How is he making these when all he is
I always think
he's a desktop PC. How is he making any physical objects? No matter what I do to my PC, it can't manufacture objects.
Calm.
But it's a terrible film, Phil. It's a terrible film.
But with this, have you ever seen Star Trek Voyager? Because that ship fixes itself. Yeah. And that's what I see this. Like they just send the code in to do it.
Send us the code. Right, so what does that actually do? Instead of making a shooting attack, Cyber-theurgy with this right may apply the effects of any version of Battlesmith X special rule they have to a single model with vehicle, dreadnought, etc. within 12. The effect is rolled normally required for Battlesmith, but does not require the Cyber-theurgy to be in base contact with the model. If this successful, may choose to make a Cyber-theurgy check for the Cyber-theurgy model. If successful, the effects of Battlesmith X special rule is applied twice. So basically, it's you sacrifice a shooting attack, you use to make the Cyber-theurgy roll. That then allows you to perform the effects of a Battlesmith action, but in itself making a Battlesmith action.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really good. You can repair wounds at range. It's really good on double shotting Plasma Thanatar. Really good on your basically Cybernetica list.
Yep.
For repairing those hull points.
Yeah, so you don't have to be
hull
in base to base. Wounds. You don't have to be in base to base. Also, if you do this Cyber-theurgy test, you can get back 2 on that. Also, this is where the Machinator array comes into it.
Yeah. Oh, and that just goes off by you just saying you cast it and you roll the test.
You cast it and you roll the Battlesmith test.
Yeah.
Or you go, I'm going to take a Cyber-theurgy test, and you take that, which is your leadership, then you roll the Battlesmith and it applies it twice.
Yeah. So that's one bit I missed. A lot of these Cyber-theurgy bits, you don't actually have to roll the test to apply the initial effect.
No.
So,
as I was just about to say, this is where Machinator array is really good. Because it pluses 2 to repair. So your stipulation to say that your Machinator array has to be in base-to-base contact or anything. It just pluses 2 to Battlesmith.
Yeah.
So now you've got
So you've
two
got the
advanced
longest, most anime extendable arms
Exactly.
in the world. Yeah.
Go gadget, mash near array, fixes it and then comes back.
So yeah, it's really good. It pairs well with a lot of the high Techno-Arcana that require Battlesmith rolls.
Yep.
Yeah, good. You get, and remember, if you're Akamendrite, you can have this and something else. And we'll say that every single time we go through any of these powers. So Animatus
Exindor! Is it
Exindor.
Exindor.
So basically, this is a range 12, AP1, Assault D6, Haywire, Datagen thing. It's Cyber-theurgy focused, so you need to take a Cyber-theurgy test to use it. Datagen is not why you're here. What you were here for is D6 Haywire shots at AP1.
Yeah.
Essentially. What is not to like about that?
So, Dreadnought charges you, you overwatch with this, boom, D6 Haywire shots.
Boom.
Bye-bye, Dreadnought.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really, really good power. Datagen just means that you can't use it against things that aren't automata, dreadnoughts, or vehicles.
Yeah. But, right, do you know what you can do with this?
What?
So when you're saying you're overwatching with it, well, if I'm Myrmidax and I've got 2 grav guns, and I'll get 2 grav guns, and I've got firing protocols 3. So if you selected this as your Cyber-theurgic Arcana, you then do grav gun,
And this.
assault D6, or you can go plasma, assault.
Because there's nothing that says that this replaces a shooting attack.
Well, it's a Cyber-theurgic weapon.
It's just
which then makes it a shooting attack. Yeah, it doesn't replace the entire attack like other Cyber-theurgic rights do.
Animatus Integro.
Like that. So yeah, it's really good. I think it pairs well with a lot of the things that you want to be doing with Myrmidax. Yeah. It pairs... The whole right pairs really well with a lot of things.
I think no matter which high order of Techno-Arcana you take, Artificia Machina is really good.
Yeah.
I think it's stable.
Are we rating these, Phil?
Out of what?
No, like order. This is one of the better ones. We'll come back to it.
I think this
we'll give a rating as we go along. Yeah. So, Artificia Cybernetica, you get Cybernetica Exhortus.
Cybernetica Exhortus.
Right, go on, you tell us what that does.
Right, okay then. So, when you use this, you can nominate a unit within 12 inches and they get one of the following effects automatically. So, when you're making a charge roll, you roll 3 dice and discard the lowest. Alright?
Yeah.
The unit, not each individual model, ignores the first wound inflicted upon it in each shooting attack that targets it until the beginning of the controlling player's next player turn. Simply discard that wound without allocating it to a model. You get your wound pool, before you even roll for your saves, you just take one out.
I'm not a massive fan of that bit. I'm not a massive fan of that particular effect. Yes, it allows you to ignore stuff, but it's before saves.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was after saves, it'd be brilliant. Since it's before saves, I can ignore maybe that one bolt gun that goes into me, but when 10 las cannons have just hit me,
so you would ignore one from the 10 las cannons.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think
I still got to roll 9 saves.
It's the worth of what's shooting at you.
Yeah.
And also what you're doing with your other
it just protects
Dominuses and Megases.
How I sort of think of it is it's protecting me from things I'm not scared of anyway. Like the things that I'm scared of are going to be doing many more wounds than this one wound.
If I go through to the end of this,
go on.
Okay. So the unit adds +1 to its ballistic skill for the remainder of the shooting phase in which the power is used.
Yeah, I like that. Obviously, like that one.
Ballistic skill 5 on most things, really good. The unit, until the start of the controlling player's next turn, as the active player, the unit may ignore the restriction against making reactions imposed by the automata unit type.
Yeah, excellent. So why would I never just use those last 2?
So
what would ever be the benefit?
So there's certain times that I use the one where it ignores wounds. Like if I'm going to go and charge into something because you're ignoring it from the the Overwatch as well. Also, Plasma Thanatars, because it's like they've ballistic skill 4 with the scatter on that. You usually don't really need the ballistic. You don't care about ballistic skill 5 that much. So there is a worth to it. It's just reduced compared to the other two.
So what you're saying is it's useful when nothing else is, but you'd never do it for this specifically.
Yeah.
Right, that's an inarguable point that I'm not going to argue with.
There you go.
But I just don't think it's great. I'd like it to be after saves.
So,
but I'd say this is an excellent Cyber-theurgy right. Yeah. Allowing you need at least one, either Dominus or your high,
Arch-magos.
That's the one. I was thinking high or Techno-Arcana, but yeah, your Arch-magos. I think you need at least one of them to have this to allow reactions where you want it.
Yes. I think it's brilliant. I really like this.
And it's instead of making a shooting attack. So,
yes.
One thing to note there is you can do it in your turn. You can do it as an interceptor reaction.
Yep.
If you get shot at, your Magos can then make another unit able to react.
Yes.
So you won't be able to do it if you trigger Scornful Fire. But you can sort of chain it along.
Yeah.
If your opponent does everything in the incorrect order, but you can chain it along.
Yep. So that's the other thing. And with this reacts, by the way, if you're doing it as an Overwatch or something like that, and your unit can react, it's the other ones. As you were saying, chain it along, and I think you can really spread it about.
Spread. You really give it a good stretch.
Artifice Cybernetica, I think, is really, really good. The Cybernetica Exortus is brilliant. And then you've got the
Mordio Cogitor. So it's a range 12, strength 10, AP 1, assault 1, datagen, instant death, Cyber-theurgy focus. Basically, as you said, can only be targeted in vehicles and stuff like that. Not as good as the Animatus Exindor.
No.
It's also counted as a shooting attack. So, whereas if I'm going with a Myrmidax Lord, right, or Ladia,
yeah,
I think the Animatus Exindor is enough to make me want to take that.
Yes.
Because of the Fire Protocols 3. The Strength 10 AP 1 Mordio Cogita, I don't think is that brilliant. It's nice that it's like, yeah, it's on that, but he's going to break your logic of victory. I think you're going to be using this more on your Dominuses rather than your Magos, your Arch-magos Dominus.
I would never touch this on my Arch-magos because
the
logic of victory is gone. So I would never touch this.
And that's just a bit of the shame, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think with the Cybernetica Exortus, you're actually getting such benefits that you never really touch this. I've used it rarely.
I've used it rarely. Yeah, it just sort of it goes against the sort of play style that you want with your Arch-magos. As I said, maybe you do it on your Dominus, but you're not going to be doing it on your Dominus if you're doing Cybernetica Extortus.
Yeah.
So it sort of just clashes because you're always pretty much going to be doing that one. Yeah. So Cyber-theurgy Arcana, Emperor Incursus. So Emperor Perfide. Christ. Just the names.
Yeah.
Instead of making a shooting attack, a Cyber-theurgy with this Cyber-theurgy right may select a single enemy model within 12, composed of vehicle or automata, may immediately make a shooting attack as if they controlled the controlling unit. Right.
You take control over their vehicle.
Enemy model, vehicle or automata. You can make a shooting attack with it. It's just written so hard. The Cyber-theurgy may choose to make a Cyber-theurgy check before making the attack. If successful, is maybe using the Cyber-theurgy XBS and is not made as snapshots. If the check is failed, suffers a feedback, no shooting attacks are made. It's fairly good. It's only that one model. Would I prefer just, if I was going to do stuff like that, giving up my own shooting to do that, would I not just prefer to be buffing my own army with Cybernetica? Yes, I would.
I think these things that this could really, that you look at, like, I don't know, if you come across a Titan.
Yes.
Or if you come across a Lord of War and you go and say,
okay,
if you come across a Titan or a Lord of War, you go, whoop, I'll have that. I'm going to shoot this.
How often do we see... For you to be selecting that in your list...
You'd have to know what you're played against, and to be honest...
And then tailor.
And we just turn up with what we've got, with there's no tailoring. So I think it could be funny.
Yeah, if someone rocks up with a Typhon or a Falchion...
And you just go... That's it. But
it's not that brilliant.
I don't think it's that.
It's
that
like for the lulz Cyber-theurgy, right? So Emperor Excluo is Assault 6, Data Gin, Blind, Vox Silence, Cyber-theurgy, Focus, Strength 3. It's not good. It's not good. He's reducing leadership by -2 on his infantry cavalry unit types, and he's got Data Gin. So Data Gin only affects. It only affects fearless models, basically.
Wait, Data Gin. When allocating to a model that does not have the automatic or is not building any hits from the weapon with this special rule, or may fail to wound with any dice being rolled, and regardless of the weapon's toughness or the target's toughness, weapon strength or the target's
toughness. Does Vox Silence rely on you getting a wound off?
Usually, if it's a weapon, it's. Any models suffers one or more hits from a weapon.
So basically, it's sort of like, and you can tell by our not knowing how this really works, how good it is, because we read through them. Like, when Mechanicum first came out, we really read through them. It just doesn't go off enough. It's like hallucinations that's worse. Like, it's just a bad hallucination.
Yeah. I just don't really think it's that great, in all honesty. So you're gonna hit -2.
Swerve.
Not really.
I think swerve. So then you've got.
I'm gonna have to go after this. I think because it's getting on a bit.
We knew this was gonna.
Yeah.
Right. So Emperor Lycromata, you get the Emperor Instigere. Instead of making a shooting attack, it selects a single friendly model within 12 composed entirely of infantry and of the Mechanicum faction. So, unlike the Lycromata High Techno-Arcana, they got to be in the Mechanicum faction.
Yeah.
The unit has got to be entirely of models within the Mechanicum faction. Can't be a Secretary unit with a joined character from another force.
Yeah.
Chris. I knew he already knew. I know he already knows that, but he deserves as much shit as we can give him for what he's currently doing. The chosen unit may immediately move number of inches up to twice its unmodified initiative characteristic. Now, and that's the majority on. In this you use the highest unmodified characteristic.
Yeah,
that's actually.
So you could be putting your Malagra High Techno-Arcana in there, and you're moving 10 inches up the board.
Yeah, which is fairly horrendous.
Yeah.
If you do a Cyber-theurgy check, you gain Hammer of Wrath 1 and Furious Charge 1 to the end of the assault phase. That's a nice little cherry on top, but I'd never really risk it. Because if you're doing Malagra, as we say, you're using Paragon Blade, you're using your rad grenades and furnace, and you'd never really do it. I don't think. I think the
thing is,
doing the twice the number of inches is enough.
As soon as you do that, though,
yeah,
somebody will be like, "Oh, I'm going to hold the line." Do you know when you go to do that charge?
Yeah,
I'm going to hold the line, and you lose the Furious Charge. You still get Hammer of Wrath, but I the double inches is pretty good.
Yeah,
it's just what you bring. So again,
I think that's an excellent little use.
Jump pack. So you've got 16 inches that you move. So you've got 12 inches that you move. Another 10 inches there. So you've got 26 inches. I think it's nearly turn 1 charge.
Lycromata. You've got to take this one. Yeah. Now, what I don't see is if you're playing normal Mechanicum, both your Battlesmith roll to do it and this replace a shooting attack. Why would you not just always do this particular one?
Because one's in the shooting phase and one isn't restricted to the shooting phase.
Instead of making a shooting attack, Battlesmith roll and during the shooting phase. Yeah, but
so that one's only just That one can be used at any time. Anytime you want to make a shooting attack, the other one can only be used
in the shooting phase.
But
you only need that one. You only need that one.
But you can only go towards the enemy with that one, where the other one you can go any direction.
Oh, okay. Right, fair. Right, there we go. Yeah, fair. So that's why. So yeah, you are right. And yeah, why would you not just hold the line doing the Cyber-theurgy test? I really like it. It can be really powerful. Especially because most of the time you just want to go directly towards the with your combat unit. Yeah. So the Cyber-theurgy weapon, what do we think of that?
The Emperor Ex Crucis?
Yes.
God, they really tested my reading comprehension on these.
I know.
Melee, Flashbane, Radphage, Concussive 3, Cybernetic Focus.
Yeah.
Strength Star, so it's got no strength anyway. So
AP3 melee. You're gonna have an AP2 weapon in melee.
Yeah.
You'd never use this.
No.
You're gonna have a Paragon Blade if you. Do you know, like, yes, your Dominus might sometimes not want to go last, but really, I'm most of the time going to use that power axe.
The thing I don't get is nearly everything that has got a 3-up save pretty much has like 1 wound.
Yeah.
Unless you're fighting other mech.
Yeah.
Where you wanting to bring it down so you can wound them easier. But
for the concussive 3, you mean?
Concussive 3, most mech has a 3-up save. You're then bringing down its toughness, so you're wounding it easier. So with the Rite of War, the Warlord trait we were talking about before, this is like kind of keeping you in combat. Where I'd rather have 15 points for a Paragon Blade to get out of that combat
and just roll someone. Just
roll it.
I think take it because of that Infurian Stigari. If you've got some infantry units. Yeah, especially because like Thalax infantry and stuff like that.
If this came with like breaching or rending, I'd be like, oh, this is a different beast. But because it doesn't have that, I'm just
the weapon.
The weapon.
Yeah, well, I still think the Paragon Blade is just gonna be superior.
Yeah.
So Artificia Reductor, you get Porta Fractis. Instead of making a shooting attack, you basically force disembark an enemy unit within 12, or the transport's within 12, you force disembark. I think that's excellent. Just the amount of time someone's just hiding within their transport.
Have you ever read the word disbarkation? It looks like it shouldn't be a word.
Yes. Well, I've not read it like that before. I always just think decant.
It decants the unit.
You decant a unit.
Like a fine wine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that you just get to do it. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Doing the Cyber-theurgy test and making them take a pinning test.
Don't really care. Not going to risk it.
Fair enough, but I think that's still a nice little option, though.
It is, but usually when I'm going to do that, when I'm going to decant a unit, I'm either going to smash... I suppose pinning so I can smash it in assault.
Yeah.
But usually when something's inside a Spartan, it's a combat unit, I'm not too worried about it shooting, so I'm not worried about it overwatching.
Yeah.
Yes, it could hold the line on me sometimes. Yeah, that's a problem. A lot of the time, especially in mech, in a reductor mech army, what's the next action you're going to do?
Shell it into the floor.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really care about it being pinned. I'm going to hit it with like a blob of myrmidons and just rip. I'm going to rip like at least 30 shots of plasma into it.
Do you know what? This is sad. Just right at the end. This Cyber-theurgy right may not target an enemy model with the flying rule. Imagine that.
Get out of your flyer now.
Super heavy knight or titan. I don't really care about that. I do think just going, you're going to have to get out of your Spartan now.
Yeah.
And then they're going to spend a turn getting back in it. You can really slow down a combat unit just by doing that.
No, you get someone out and then just go bam, bam, bam. Yeah.
Right.
So Manos Ruinous. Basically, it's a Strength 10, AP1 Data Djinn weapon, which has Armor Bane, Exoshock 3+, unwieldy, cumbersome Cyber-theurgy focus. So you do this in melee, obviously, because it's a melee weapon. I sort of don't see why you wouldn't just be smacking them. Like a chain fist is... if you're worried about machines that much, you can get a chain fist for 10 points. Like, it's 25 points to get both a chain fist and a Paragon Blade on your Arch-magos.
I just don't like it.
It's good for a Dominus, but a Dominus is rocking about in a unit of automata.
It's got cumbersome as well. So your weapons...
Yeah, but you don't care when you're going against a vehicle.
A vehicle,
against, I suppose, yes, against a dreadnought. But like dreadnoughts, well, I use my fist and I'm strength 10, so wounding it on 2s.
I think this is just really odd. Like, I just don't get why. Like, it adds nothing. It's saving you 5 points.
Yeah.
And I don't get why they did that. If this was a shooting attack, if this was a 12-inch shooting attack, I'd be like, yeah, got some definite worth there. But the other thing as well, I don't really want to run my Magos up to something. Do you know what I mean? I want to be making sure that I'm dictating that something's
a dreadnought as well is one of the things that I don't really want to run into.
And like trying to track down a vehicle as well. You've got a 6-inch move. The vehicles have got 7+ inches. Most of them. You're not going to catch it. You're not going to catch it. So I'm not interested in that.
So that's the end of the Cyber-theurgy. Go on. What is your top 3 picks in order, Phil? Or do you want me to go first?
Oh, right. You go first. Go on. You go first.
Oh, in order. You see, this makes it really hard. So, so I'll go for my particular Myrmidax jetpack style Lord. Yeah. I really like the Reductor.
Getting them out of a unit.
Yeah. Because there's gonna be like a Spartan with a flare shield, as much as you can literally, like, 2 days ago and today, my Spartan just popped easily. I seem to really have a problem knocking people out of Spartans. No one seems to have a problem knocking me out of a Spartan.
No.
Right? So, just having that ability to just be like, I don't even have to worry about your transport.
Right.
Get out. Yeah, get out. And I'm gonna myrmidon you to absolute death. So that's my one.
Okay.
What do you like? You do your one.
So my one is definitely the Artificer Cybernetica.
Yeah, making your Castellax.
Making my Castellax, being able to do that. Making my Thanatar Kallax, hitting on 2s.
So I suppose this is what we give our Lord, right?
Yeah,
this is what we give our Lord.
So this is what I'd give my... So I would give my Lord...
Yeah.
That.
Right. So, because my part of that is... It's got a 12-inch range for like making someone get out of that transport. So having my Lord with a jump pack allows me to get within that 12 easily, do it, fuck off on my jump pack.
Off a pop.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I get that. Like, I'd go this Cybernetica on like my secondary, like my Dominus, who is then making people react. I think it's really important to be doing that. So yeah, secondary.
So my secondary is the Artificer Machina.
Yeah. I
think having that 12-inch there where I can fix something so I don't have to be in base to base. Again, I've got a weapon I can use. So if it's something that charges me, Dreadnoughts, Contemptors in particular, I'm like, boom, gone.
Yeah. And I don't think you need as much help as we said before in Mechanicum against Dreadnought.
No.
Because you've got a lot of 2-up. So you've got a lot of AP2, you've got a lot of Myrmidon plasma guns, and you've got a lot of access to grav. But I do think that's a nice cherry on top to have as a reacting thing.
And possibly people won't see that you're using that much, so they'll forget about it. Like, I'm going to charge that unit there. You can bait something and I'm like, right, okay, well, they can react now. I did that in my shooting phase. I made them react. So, something else has cast that on there now, so they can do the haywire.
Yeah. I will say, if I'm taking the Achimandrite, it's a hard toss.
Do you not want to go and say what high Techno-Arcana you'll take at the end? What is it you're going to take?
What am I going to take? So I've always taken Reductor.
Okay.
Right. Or it's really hard. It's really hard, Phil. Myrmidax at the moment. I just landed into a Myrmidon army.
Okay.
I really like Reductor. The Harbinger of Destruction rule is really, really good. But just the setup
Harbinger of Devastation.
Yes, that's the one. But the Myrmidax setup is currently something that I'm favouring a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to experiment with a few different ones. Especially even the Acamandrite, because, well, like, my dude's obviously the head of the Forge World that I made up. He's not got some boss telling him what to do.
Because he's the boss.
Yeah, otherwise I'd just make a model of the boss. So yeah. So I'm going to experiment with them 3. Not really Cybernetica like Ramata. What about you?
So, you know, like my army in 1.0 was just Cybernetica.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I really liked that. I've actually been playing with the Archimandrite right now. And I cannot see me taking another high...
Really?
Techno-Arcana.
So are you going to get Thalax to hide your dude in? Because he's not got Patris Cybernetica then?
No, I'm going to put him in a unit of Myrmidons.
There.
So if I put him in a unit of Myrmidons, he's got an infantry unit, so they can go around, and that infantry unit can react by itself. So if he's not shooting, he's then, Thanatar Calyx behind me, do you want a bit of a boost? And he can
do you want a bit of a boost?
He can take also Artificer Machina and Artificer Cybernetica. So absolutely Swiss Army knife of what he needs to do. And I just think that for me, with that 2 combinations, is working for me really well at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. Shall we very quickly do Dominus to finish off the HQs? We're not going to do the Caleb Decima.
Yeah, Dominus.
So, because this can be very fast. Dominus, take them on Abeyant so they get more wounds.
Yeah.
They've got Weapon Skill 3, BS 4, Strength Toughness 4, 2 wounds, Initiative 3, 2 attacks, Leadership 9, 3 up save. You're not getting these for their ability to do anything but survive. So with your Mechanicum Protectiva, you add a Cyber Familiar for what's that? That's then a 4 up save, yeah. And maybe you add a Machinator Array so that your ranged Cyber-theurgy and Battlesmiths go off a bit more reliably. But other than that, I wouldn't recommend any more upgrades. You like augury scanners, don't you? So when you make that reaction, it's free as well.
Yeah, so I like augury scanners because I'm not limited to night fighting to the 24 inches. I also like it so I can actually intercept.
Yeah.
So that's why I take augury scanners, but I would, as Max has just said, I wouldn't take anything more on these.
Yeah.
Like proper bare bones.
Do you go Machinator Array though?
I do take Machinator Array, just in case I'm like, I need to fix something. Like it's 25 points, it's pretty dear for an upgrade, but these start off really cheap at 75 points.
And you can go Artificia Cybernetica, Machina, or Amphoria Incursus.
Yeah.
So which one do you go, Phil?
I take
Cybernetica.
Cybernetica, Artificer Cybernetica.
Yeah, just every single time.
Every time. But because I'm taking an Archimandrite high Techno-Arcana, if I do decide that I don't want to make something react, there's nothing near it.
Yeah.
I can fix something and I can choose then roll Battlesmith and give it Ballistic Skill 5. Why I'll do that, I'm not too certain, but I'm just saying I have that ability to do it.
Yeah, it's just so useful for them to be able to make things react.
Yeah.
It's sort of, you need at least one, I would say you need at least one Dominus in your army to just dedicate it
to
doing
reacting
that.
all the time, yeah.
Yeah. And that is really the HQ choices. We might do a separate one for like Titan forces and stuff like that, but for the Mechanicum main, that is everything you need to know about them. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, which we hope you did, there is comment below, comment and subscribe below. It lets us know that you actually like this content, so we'll make the rest of the Mechanicum book. There is a Patreon link below if you extra liked it, where you can join the Cult of Phil on the Discord, as well as get ad-free videos and a bouncy tray. And yeah, should we leave it there, Phil?
Yeah.
And we'll catch everyone next time.
See you later.
In a bit.